Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the inaugural Harvard Zaytuna Symposium. It is really my honor as your sister in Islam, as the president of the Harvard Undergraduate Theological Society, and as a huge fan of Zaytuna and as a student of Harvard University to welcome you to this momentous occasion. I would initially like to offer you some opening remarks. From there, we will transition into some recitation of the Quran by Abdul Aziz. We will then transition into a translation. We will then transition into opening remarks by Dr. Abdul Rashid, who is the chaplain here at Harvard University. And we will then transfer into a small piece of music prepared. And then we will start what you have all been waiting for, which is our inaugural lecture. So first, I would like to quickly just introduce what this is. So many years ago, in 1636, Harvard University was founded as the first institution of higher education in the United States, with a Puritan, Congregationalist foundation focused on training ministers and clergy. Today, Harvard is one of the most prestigious and highly rated universities in the world, producing scholarship within an array of disciplines while also bringing together students and academicians from around the globe. In its beginnings, Zaytuna College is the first and only Muslim undergraduate college in the United States with many similarities to Harvard's inception so long ago. We hope that this endeavor will mark the first step in establishing a long and beneficial relationship between Harvard and Zaytuna. On behalf of the organizing committee, we are delighted to have had the opportunity to play a role in fostering this new relationship in the pursuit of upholding truth and serving humanity through academia. We wish it may continue for years to come in the hopes of nurturing bonds of love, devotion, and learning. At this time, I'd like to recognize the organizing committee. They have put in hours of time. I'd like to actually share how this program started. I will start by introducing Aqid and Hamdi. If you guys could please wave your hands or at least show yourself to the crowd. Where is Hamdi? Is Hamdi grabbing something or doing something right now? These individuals reached out to me with an idea. And when I first heard the idea, I told them, this is my dream. To be able to do this is my dream. I told them there have been many attempts, and oftentimes these things can start off as small sparks of energy and eventually die down. But I think it was with taysir, it was with righteous intentions that step after step after step, we saw this coming to fruition. And it is really only by the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are all gathered here today to establish something so momentous as this. I'd like to also introduce the organizing committee members on behalf of Zaytuna. Fatima, if you can raise your hand or show yourself to the crowd. There she is. And Danny in the back, also a senior at Zaytuna who has been critical in helping us. I'd like to introduce the master's students who are part of the organizing committee. We have Tuleib, who is a PhD in Quranic studies here at Harvard. And we have Amin Qureshi, who is here with us from Japan at Harvard Divinity School. Could we please offer them a round of applause for helping us put this together? I'd like to just say that this is a gift, and I pray that we can all be, that we can all be lights in an ebony night of sort. I think we all can relate to what that means, and hopefully leave here as facilitators, as witness to the power of what the Islamic tradition holds and what it can offer to the modern world. With that, I'd like to invite Abdul Aziz to come offer some recitation, and then we will transition into translation. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الذين يتلون كتاب الله وأقاموا الصلاة وأنفقوا مما رزقناهم سرا وعلانية يرجون تجارة لن تبور ليوفيهم أجورهم ويزيدهم من فضله إنه غفور شكور. والذي أوحينا إليك من الكتاب هو الحق مصدقا لما بين يديه إن الله بعباده لخبير بصير. ثم أورثنا الكتاب الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا فمنهم ظالم لنفسه ومنهم مقتصد ومنهم سابق بالخيرات بإذن الله ذلك هو الفضل الكبير. جنات عدن يدخلونها يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ولؤلؤا ولباسهم فيها حرير. وقالوا الحمد لله الذي أذهب عنا الحزن إن ربنا لغفور شكور. الذي أحلنا دار المقامة من فضله لا يمسنا فيها نصب ولا يمسنا فيها لغوب.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, surely those who recite the book of God and perform the prayer and expend that which we have provided them, secretly and in public, look for a commerce that comes to naught, not to naught, that he may pay them in their full wages and enrich them of his bounty. Surely he is all forgiving, all thankful. And that we have revealed to thee of the book is the truth, confirming what is before it, God is aware of and sees his servants. Then we bequeath the book on those of our servants we chose, but of them some wrong themselves, some of them are lukewarm, and some are outstrippers in good works, by the leave of God. That is the great bounty. Gardens of Eden they shall enter, therein they shall be adorned with bracelets of gold and with pearls, and their apparel there shall be of silk. And they shall say, praise belongs to God, who has removed all sorrow from us. Surely our Lord is all forgiving, all thankful.
All right, I'd now like to introduce Zui Zhao. He's a pianist from Boston University who will be playing for us Mozart Fantasia in C minor. Can we please have one more round of applause for that beautiful piano piece? And you want to know the truth? There was no practice. There was no preparation. I just invited Zui to play less than an hour and a half ago. So that just speaks to Zui, and we thank you and we appreciate your time. Thank you. I now would like to introduce Chaplain Khalil Abdul Rashid to offer some opening remarks for this event. Chaplain has been a pillar for this community. Him and his wife, Chaplain Samia, offer so much, both in terms of moral support, spiritual support, and so it's really my honor to be welcoming my mentor to the stage. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Peace and blessings be with all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm not going to take a long time, so I won't be speaking in the spirit of chaplaincy today. But what I hope to do is just to remind myself and everyone here of what it is that we are supposed to be doing, and to remind us of what it means to participate in a symposium like this. Certainly, on behalf of Chaplain Sami and myself, we extend a tremendous humbled welcome to Shaykh Hamza, Yusuf, to Dr. Aisha, Dr. Rayan, of course, Dr. Omar Qureshi, Shaykh Mashuk, to all of the distinguished students of Zaytuna, to our community and to our campus. And it is really important just to keep something in our frame of mind, in our backgrounds, in our foregrounds, in our hearts and minds and spirits. And that is what happens when we encounter knowledge and ilm. There's a difference between information and ilm. Ilm is a term of sacred knowledge. And we meet all the time. We have different encounters. But there are two ways to meet. You can meet, you can have an encounter and then you part and you go back. And there's not really much of an impact that it has. Similar to what's called the Majma' al-Bahrain, the place where the two seas meet. And there's no overlap. But then there's the other encounter where you encounter things in your environment, you encounter knowledge specifically and people of knowledge, and you take from them, and in the spirit of what the Quran talks about, the honeybee, you go from flower to flower, right? And you take and you absorb. And the metaphor or the example of the honeybee is what I'd like to leave with all of us today and set the stage. That the honeybee, particularly the Quranic example of the honeybee, is really important. That our role in engaging in the world, particularly as Muslims, is such that we are supposed to be the kind of people that engage, that benefit, that absorb, and that give back, that produce. يَخْرُجُ مِن بُطُونِهَا شَرَابٌ. First, Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, ثُمَّ كُلُوا مِن كُلِّ الثَّمَرَاتِ, that the honeybee has been commanded to go and to derive from different flowers, different fruits, go to different places, learn different things, ingest, absorb, consume, if you will, take things in. So you learn, you benefit, you sit with teachers, you meet people, and you absorb. But not just absorb, but you digest. يَخْرُجُ مِن بُطُونِهَا. And that digestion then becomes something different. And so we are meant to not just take in information, we are meant to produce something new from the experiences that we have, particularly with our teachers. And this format in tonight's lecture by Shaykh Hamza and the guests that we have here, these are teachers of ours, and they represent the teachers in our tradition. And this symposium represents the teachings of our tradition in dialogue and discussions. And this is really important in a climate where there's a lot of polarization and not a lot of desire to sit at the table and have dialogues and discussions and understand how to come to terms with each other, how to encounter difference, and how to respectfully navigate those differences. And then how to produce something for the world to benefit in the spirit of the honeybee. The product that comes out is shifa'un linnas, is something that is of healing to not just one community, but to everybody. So our hope and our purpose for what may blossom from this inaugural lecture, this inaugural symposium, is that we may be inspired, we may be moved, we may be shaken, we may be stirred, we may be uplifted to be able to improve ourselves so that we'll be in a better position to walk the path of being subjects who produce a product that is healing to the maladies that afflict our communities, our country, and even our own selves. And so I'll leave you with the advice of my first teacher, the very first person in my life when I was a young man, I was 19 years old, who taught me the very first lessons of Islam, and he was teaching, and he was dying of cancer. He was dying of bone cancer, and he used to come to class. He was never late. I was the one at 19 who was late. He was never late. And he used to say that, what you're learning is not information. What you're learning is prophetic bequeaths, knowledge from the prophets. And we have a responsibility to pass that on, and we pass it on not just through words, but with beings who we are. And so I will close so that we can understand better what that means. I wish all of you a warm welcome this evening. May Allah Ta'ala be with you and bless you, and may we help us unite ourselves so that we may be standard bearers in this life and in the life to come to what is healing and what is beautiful and what is praising. Thank you very much. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum.
The inaugural lecture, or the lecture that will happen with the symposium, intends to create a space to feature prominent scholars and public intellectuals from each institution as an opportunity for the whole community to learn and gain knowledge. This year, the inaugural speech features Shaykh Hamza Yusuf presenting The Arts of Understanding, Prerequisites for Unlocking the Islamic Tradition. He is the co-founder and president of Zaytuna College and arguably the most influential Islamic scholar in the West. But I think for the majority of us in the room, this is a man who has shaped who we are, who has brought us closer to